Okay, quickly now, everybody, without thinking. How many times am I going to clap my hands in this intro? You need to come up with a number right now. Okay, you got one? Okay. How many times was that? Was that 6? Okay, the answer is 6, except it isn't because, haha, 7. See, I made you think the answer was 6, but the answer was actually 8 the whole time. All right, hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Barry back again. I actually have a little bit of information regarding Barry. Last time I brought up the Barry plushie project, where I was hoping to get out some Barry the Brick plushies to send off to all of your homes and various places of residences for the holiday season, so everybody could have their own little Barry the Brick. Unfortunately, that's not going to be feasible for this year. I'm sorry. I figured it was going to be kind of tight because, you know, that's a little bit more intensive making a plushie rather than like a t-shirt, and it's already November. So I have a point of contact with the company that's going to be making them, and we're aiming right now for like March, April of next year. It's going to take a few more months, but as soon as I find out more information, I'll let you guys know. I don't know anything about pre-ordering or prices yet. We still have a few things to work out, but as soon as I figure it out, I'll let you guys know, and we can work on getting mass marketing the crap out of Barry. We will mass market the crap out of you yet, Barry. Do not worry. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about 5 very weird, unprecedented abilities in the One Piece world, and I know, given the One Piece world, that is certainly saying something. 2 days ago, I did that video on elemental hockey. It's doing very well, by the way. Very well received video. Thanks to everybody that watched it. Talking about how maybe you can use hockey in a way that has yet to be explained to us in the story. This could explain how you could add, like, elements to it. So Luffy's Red Hawk, or Thor Elephant Gun, or Kinemon's Fire Sword. A lot of people brought up Brook's Ice. You know, I used a few other examples in that video. And when I was making that video, I started to go down the list of all the characters in One Piece, and I'm thinking, man, there's a lot of characters that are not Devil Fruit users and don't really use hockey the way we know about hockey so far, but still have really wacky powers. So today I wanted to talk about 5 of those. These powers are not related to a Devil Fruit. Some of the characters may have a Devil Fruit, but that power in question is not related to it. Like, for example, Kinemon has the power of the Clothing Fruit, or the Clothing Jutsu, allowing him to, like, take a leaf or a rock on somebody's head and give them a new outfit or something, or his little clothing store thing he did. You pass through a portal and you get new duds, but that has nothing to do with him being able to create a fire sword and slice Kaido's Boro breath, you know what I mean? So, I'm not going to reference that stuff because I already talked about that in the video, Kinemon's Fire Sword, at length here. So let's just get right into it, though, with number 5, and this is something I did mention, so we're just kind of going to go through this, but this is such a weird power, I have to put it on this list, and this is Miss Golden Week's Colors Trap ability. Now, I made a whole video about this, and I did mention it last time, so I'll be brief here. But Miss Golden Week has probably the most Devil Fruit-esque power that's not a Devil Fruit. And I was even thinking, like, if Oda was going to retcon this at some point, like if Oda came out later in a Vivre card or in like some kind of data book and was like, oh yeah, by the way, Marianne, Miss Golden Week, yeah, she did have a Devil Fruit the whole time. It was called the Paint Fruit. Not to be confused with Kanjuro's Ink Fruit, or his Brush Fruit, or whatever you want to call Kanjuro's ability, right? But no, we had the Vivre card, you know, fairly recently for, you know, Miss Golden Week. It was like a little bit over a year ago, and it was confirmed she doesn't have a Devil Fruit, but, you know, suffice to say, she still has a very powerful ability that allows her to draw on various characters or locations and objects and affect those things based on whatever color of paint she uses for her colors trap. Like Laughter Yellow, Sadness Blue, Bullseye Red, Betrayal Black, all that kind of stuff she's got. I was thinking in the elemental video, and I know like mind and psychic powers is not really elemental, you know what I mean? But it could be. I guess it depends on what kind of video game you're playing, if like the mind is an ability. But, you know, I was thinking like, okay, maybe it's not her power, maybe it's the paint, you know, maybe like somebody she knew made this magic paint, like maybe her painting instructor had the power of the magical paint fruit, and then that person made a giant vat of paint, and then she has the paint, and it's the paint that's doing the effects rather than her ability. I also thought, because, you know, maybe it is involving hockey in some way, you know how observation hockey is usually reacting to the stimuli around you, like someone's trying to attack you and you use observation to sense it and dodge the attack or something like that. Maybe it is something similar with Miss Golden Week, where it's reversed, where she can take her emotions and like give them to other people. Like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Mob from Mob Psycho 100, of course, where, you know, he's very, not bland, but just very stoic, very calm. He's not very expressive until he hits 100%, and then his emotions come out. Very similar character is Miss Golden Week, where she just kind of chills out, eats some cookies, drinks some tea. Even when she's in the middle of pitched combat with Luffy, she doesn't really express very many emotions. She's just like, this is laughter yellow. As long as that symbol's on you, you will laugh uncontrollably. This is bullseye red. As long as this symbol's in eye shot, you can only attack it. She didn't really express any emotion until right about when she was about to be defeated, and then she expressed like, oh no, like shock and whatever. But yeah, and maybe it's something like that, like reverse observation hockey, and to give others emotions, or something kind of magical paint. But she herself does not have a devil fruit, and it is still, I think, to this day, even some other unexplained abilities are on here, but her ability is the most devil fruit-like non-devil fruit ability. Easy. All right, moving on to number 4, we're going to be talking about Ivankov. Emporio Ivankov! And Ivankov is a very interesting character. Of course, he has the hormone fruit, allowing him, in his own words, to become like an engineer of the human body, allowing him to change things like gender, body temperature, skin pigmentation. Ivankov can do all of that kind of stuff with his ability. Now, on top of that, Ivankov is also a master, a grandmaster, as it were, of Newcomer Kempo, which is like the upgraded form of Okama Kempo, used by like Mr. 2 Bon Clay. Now, Newcomer Kempo has some interesting, techniques, like the hair removal fist, or like the LASIK, aesthetic, like laser, like wart or mole removal that he used against Akainu, right? Very interesting abilities, and some of them do work in conjunction with Ivankov's hormone fruit. Like one of the abilities is making the syringes come out of his hands and then using them as like lasers to fight against Akainu. I remember that, like slashing attacks, and the syringes get melted. A lot of other Newcomer Kempo techniques involve just like martial arts, like moving the hands really fast, like rapid movement and stuff. But the weirdest ability that Ivankov has by far is his Death Wink! Where literally just bats an eyelash and then a giant shockwave akin to a cannon blast, just boom! And Ivankov has abilities, like the face growth synthesis with the hormone fruit to make this ability even more devastating. So to make his head larger and then attack, and then it leaves an even larger explosion. Or the galaxy wink, just moving really fast. But the core ability of the death wink is so weird to me. It really has nothing to do with the hormone fruit. And I really don't think it has much to do with Newcomer Kempo. I don't know, because the thing is with Newcomer Kempo, I think a lot of the techniques Ivankov uses, they're like numbered. So before it'll be like Newcomer Kempo technique number 43 or whatever, like hair removal fist or something. But when it comes to Death Wink, that seems like something like specifically catered toward Ivankov, not something like part of the Newcomer training regiment or anything like that. Like, I don't know exactly how you could even train that. But yeah, Ivankov just has the power to bat an eyelash so damn fast, like just beyond the speed of light. This eyelash is batted to just boom, send out a huge shockwave, perfectly good aim and everything, and the attack seriously does feel like a cannon blast, is what it's compared to. So, seems like that ability, I mean, with like really strong characters like Akainu or the other admirals, it's really not that effective, but just having like unlimited cannon fire whenever you want, that seems pretty damn useful, right? So, yeah, cannot overlook that ability. It is a very, very strange one. Maybe it comes back to Ivankov's makeup, because that was also a thing when Magellan launches the freaking poison and it hits Ivankov right in the face. He's like, oh no, my face is melting, whatever shall I do? Psych! And then just takes off his makeup. I wear lots and lots of makeup, so it just absorbed the attack. And I think in the anime later, it's the same thing with Akainu's magma, although it doesn't work too well. Like, the magma gets like hit right in Ivankov's face, like, oh no! Scalding hot magma! How will I ever survive? Psych! And it's like, it's just makeup! Oh, actually, that was really hot magma. And then Ivankov, I think, drops in the anime anyway. So maybe it's just, like, adding, like, layers and layers of eyeshadow and mascara or whatever, and then that causes the freaking cannonball effect. I don't know, but that's a thing. Now, moving on to number 3. Now, this is, that was a voice crack. This is probably the most likely one that is going to be actively explained. Maybe, this and number 1. This and number 1 are probably going to be explained in the story, because I don't think this is a gag or anything. I think this is something that is going to be set up for later. And this is King. Alright, so King, of course, has the ability to turn into a Pteranodon. He has the Ancient Zone, Ryu no Mi model Pteranodon. Not a dinosaur, but a pterosaur. And on top of that, though, King is perpetually on fire. You know, I mean, we haven't really even seen him do anything that epic yet, but he is on fire. No, like quite literally, like his back is always on fire. He's got black wings and fire just coming out of him, right? And even when he turns into a pteranodon, you still see the fire around him. It seems like he can control the fire's output. Like if he really wanted to, it could be just like a little bit of ember, or if he really wanted it to be bigger fire, he could just create bigger fire if he wanted to. King uses a sword, so I'm assuming, you know, I'll take out Senhiki Kamogiri here, Thousand Duck Slayer. And, yeah, he could probably just ignite his sword on fire, too. Everybody in Wano gets a fire sword. If that's the thing you gotta accept about this arc that Oda's going with. Everybody's getting a fire sword. Kinemon has a fire sword. King can probably have a fire sword. Zoro can also light his sword on fire with that blaze technique. So everybody's getting a fire sword. That's the cool part, okay? But why is King on fire? Seriously, like, why is that a thing? Now, you know Queen is there, so Queen might have already developed some kind of, like, mechanism. Maybe if it's not a flame dial, maybe something that's similar to a flame dial to, like, attach on King's back and, like, light the fire, and it's like a constant flame. Could be something like that, although King and Queen don't really seem to get along very much, so I don't know if King would, like, accept a device like that from Queen. Also, we know King is kind of into some, like, well, he literally is dressed in, like, a full latex, like, rubber, like, gimp suit. So we can assume he's into some really interesting things on Saturday nights. So if he's into like torture and stuff like that, maybe that's just his thing, where it's just like, I'm just gonna be constantly lit on fire, and he experiences pain, but he's like cool with it because that's his deal. It might also go back to his particular race that he's part of, because Big Mom mentions this. You know, King is one of the three races, or is a representative of one of the three races that do not exist in Totland. Giants is one of them, but what about the other two? Because they're black wings, I'm going to assume maybe something related to the sky. He could be a part of like the fallen angel race, like another type of Skypian that we didn't get to see in the arc, or we didn't get to see on the moon on the drawings on the walls. You know, we saw Brickens, we saw Shandorians, and we saw Skypians, but maybe there was a fourth kind of sky race that was maybe exiled from the moon, or it was separate from all the other ones, and they fell to the earth, and maybe much like the Shandorians, but they were lost to time or something like that. Or on the reverse end of this spectrum, because the Skypians were often referred to as like angels, maybe King is part of a demon or a devil race that comes from the depths of the earth or something like that. Maybe his homeland is like a volcanic island or something like that, and everybody born there has the natural ability to control and manipulate fire, and he's just the only one that remains after maybe some kind of like devastation or some kind of extinction event or something. He's the only one that survives. So yeah, King is very, very interesting in this regard, and unlike Ivankov, I don't think it's used more as a gag on Oda's part. I think at some point when King really starts getting into a serious fight with Zoro or somebody else in the Straw Hats, or whoever King is going to fight against, we're going to find out exactly what's the deal with his fire ability, because I don't think it's related to his ancient dragon, his pteranodon fruit at all. It is a nice little callback to Rodan, because Rodan, the kaiju, from the old school, Japanese monster films, came out of a volcano, so he's a pteranodon that's on fire. Oda might have definitely taken references there from Rodan, but I think that there is going to be a legitimate reason why he just is always on fire, right? So, guess we'll have to wait to see to find out. But that one and number one, I think, were the most likely here. Number two, I'm kind of cheating on this, but it's a new concept in One Piece that was just kind of introduced in Wano. We got some, setup for this during Zou with Raizo, but in this most recent battle with Kaido, it really does raise a lot of questions, and that is the ninjutsu thing. I gotta talk about that. I mean, come on. It's one thing to have ninja techniques like substitution jutsu. Okay, you swap out with a log or something. Cloning jutsu. Alright, you move really fast and make after images of yourself. Or shuriken jutsu. You throw one, shuriken and it's like, oh, it was actually 3 the whole time. It's like, alright. Or just really accurate shuriken kunais, whatever. Fine, okay. But then you get to the next level of this when Raizo's fighting against Kaido, where we do really just open up the Naruto chest and go crazy. We go crazy with this. Where Raizo, takes a scroll, giant scroll out of nowhere. He wasn't holding it, so he had poof! Giant scroll! Scroll no jutsu! Absorb the Boro breath! seal, and return! A lot of people, when reading that chapter, first off, were like, whoa! Raizo's awesome this whole time! I'm like, well, did you really doubt him? I kind of did. But yeah, on top of Raizo being epic as all hell, though, a lot of people were like, alright, this has gotta be a devil fruit or something. A lot of people had thrown out the idea, maybe it is a devil fruit, and he's just like, well, he could have been a ninja from the beginning, because there's other ninja in Wano, he's not the only one, and other ninja are capable of doing ninjutsu, but not quite on the same level that we saw Raizo against Kaido, right? Like, I was kind of on board with it for a while, like, oh, okay, Raizo can do substitution and clones, but I'm sure the Oni Wabanshu could use those techniques too, Shinobu can probably use those techniques. That's not that weird. Summoning a giant scroll to absorb a giant nuclear, Boro breath, and then absorb it and seal it, and then attack him back. Okay. Alright, I don't know if every single member of the Oni Wabanshu, I don't know if Shinobu could pull that off. You know what I mean? That's kind of next level chakra Naruto, that's kind of going into those levels there, right? So, some people said he could have trained to be a ninja to begin with, and then he could have gotten some kind of devil fruit, and his devil fruit was like the scroll fruit, but he just kept calling it ninjutsu. But the only problem with that is, so far, it has really been pretty much confirmed that he doesn't have a devil fruit, unless Oda was like, well, I don't want to spoil it that he has one, so in the Vivara card or in the data books, I'm not going to reveal he has a devil fruit yet, up until I actually want to reveal that. I want to keep it a secret from everybody. That's always could be a possibility, too. If it's not a devil fruit, though, and it really is just regular ninjutsu, how? How does one train in the art of ninjutsu to summon a giant scroll out of nothing and absorb a giant attack and then wrap it around a huge dragon and then, rebuke it with the same attack? How does one train there? Does chakra exist in Naruto? See, this is where I'm getting to the, elemental hockey thing. Like, you train in hockey well enough, you have, a very specific kind of Wano observation or Wano armament, like Ryuo technique. It could just make sense in that. Noda's, a big fan of Kishimoto, and they were kind of rivals, so it's like, Raizo's a ninja, he can do sealing techniques. But that's not, the kicker yet. If he can do that, what else can he do? That's the big question. What else can he do beyond just sealing things in a scroll? Can he use Fire Style? Can he use Chidori? Can he use Rasen Shuriken? I don't know. Guess we're just gonna have to find out. But I had to put him on the list because it is very, very strange. Quite indeed. Yes, indubitably. Yes, very strange ninja. And so now I finally give you the number one most least explained power. Yeah, that's an apt definition of that. Okay, sure. Most least explained power. And for a little while there, I was kind of at a loss. I was kind of stopped at 4, and I was kind of stumped, like, oh man, what other powers are there? And I was kind of going through all of them. Now, let me also clarify. You have Brook's ability to control the powers of the underworld, but I'm like, that might be related to his Devil Fruit. I'm trying to find other abilities that aren't Devil Fruit related to necessarily or haven't been confirmed to yet, right? I wanted to find other abilities like that. And the obvious one just kind of eluded me, and then I kind of, realized it last night. I'm like, oh, wait! Blackbeard! Yeah, no duh! Blackbeard has to be on this list. In fact, Blackbeard has to be number 1 on this list, because he literally has the ability to take in more than one Devil Fruit power, which no other human being, or giant, or fishman, or merman, or Totata, or sentient dolphin race that is yet to be shown, or snake neck, can utilize in this entire story, right? So, Blackbeard is number 1. And there's prominent theories out there that maybe it is through the Yami Yami no Mi that he's able to do this, but so far it seems like, to me anyway, that's not the case. It seems to be more of a thing, before he even had the Yami Yami no Mi, he had a very strange body type, and this was even mentioned by Shanks and Buggy, that Teach never seems to sleep, and Marco later on, during the war, after he did absorb the Guru Guru no Mi, Marco's like, he has a very strange body, so with his weird biology, it may be feasible to have more than one Devil Fruit. So I don't think it's nothing to do with the actual Yami Yami no Mi itself. itself, it might aid the, the absorption ability because, he can use Black Vortex and everything. It might help him steal Devil Fruit powers, but I don't think that's the actual mechanism. I think he had that ability beforehand. People have thrown out the theory that maybe he can take the Devil Fruit and put it into the power on his ring, and then he can wear it, and so it's like he can wear rings because it's like, using objects as the host for Devil Fruits. But with that theory, like, that makes sense given from what we've seen in the story, although every object that we've seen in the story that has a Devil Fruit power are all zones, not paramecia, so the rules might be different there. But I would feel like that would be kind of like a cheap explanation for this. I mean, it might be a legitimate one. It's just like, that was the big secret this whole time. He just took a ring and just put the Guru no Mi in a ring, and then that's all he did. And that's how he had the power. I mean, it could be, but I don't see that. I think that's just kind of a more lame example. Also, that would mean that, like, anybody, that all you have to do to defeat Blackbeard is just take off his ring or slice off his hand, and then he doesn't have the Guru powers anymore. And I feel like that'd be a pretty obvious weakness that could be exploited. I don't like that theory too much. But I guess it is feasible just from what we've seen so far with other fruits and objects and things. Personally, I really like the 3-soul or the multiple soul or the Cerberus theory, where, either the Cerberus theory is a little bit different. The Cerberus theory is he has a mythical zone Cerberus, so it gives him 3 heads and 3 different, bodies to, like, absorb a Devil Fruit power. So he has mythical zone Cerberus, and then he has the Yami, and then he has the Guru, and that's his limit. Also, the flag, of the Blackbeard Pirates has 3 skulls on it, so that might be implying to that. But ever since that flashback with Odin, and we got a little bit more with Blackbeard's history and stuff, and we got to find out a little bit more, like, he doesn't sleep and stuff like that, and now we know more about Roxy Zebek, I'm feeling like it's a multiple soul kind of thing, or multiple personalities, whatever you want to call it. It could be multiple souls, because souls are a thing that actually exist in One Piece, so he has, like, maybe one of the souls is Roxy Zebek, maybe Roxy Zebek died and then, inhabited Teach as a host, and there might be other souls in there too. It might be something like Shigaraki and All for One in My Hero Academia, where it's like, Rox is inside of Blackbeard's head being like, you need to get the Gura and the Yami. Ooh, I'm Roxy Zebek, ghost. I wouldn't really want to go with that because I like the, I like the whole, inherited will concept of One Piece, like that whole aspect of it. Like, it doesn't have to be like Luffy directly related to Roger to carry on his legacy, that sort of deal. But he might have multiple personalities, and for each personality he has, another Devil Fruit could work perfectly fine. So there's a lot of theories revolving around Blackbeard. I have done a video about that before, but it's, at the end of the day, it's still a very weird, unexplained power that is probably not going to be touched upon until we get more into the final part of this story, like well after Kaido is taken care of, and maybe when it's finally looking like the Straw Hats are right about to go up against the Blackbeard crew, that's when we'll probably find out what's going on here. What's the upper limit to how many Devil Fruits he can have in his personal body? Because he's collecting Devil Fruits all over the world. Does he have all of them in them? Or can he just, like, collect them and give them to other people? Is he really, like, All for One in that regard? He could take Devil Fruits and, like, pass them on to other people and, like, switch them out. Maybe he can. Maybe he can't. I don't know. Like, he'd go up to Shiryu and be like, Shiryu, I'm going to take the clear fruit and I'll give you the diamond fruit, or something like that. Like, could he? I don't know, maybe. But still, very curious indeed. But anyway, those are 5 very strange abilities in One Piece that are not necessarily related to any kind of Devil Fruit that we know of. Let me know of some other abilities down below. I'm sure there's a few others that I am forgetting, or some other ones that might look like they're part of a Devil Fruit, but they're actually not. Like Brook's thing could be something completely different than his Yomi Yomi. I don't really know how this works. Oda's probably not going to explain every little thing here, but it's nice to theorize. So thanks for watching, everybody. This will be Tekking and Barry signing out. Senhiki Kamogiri!